Marty in Encinitas, California. Hey, Marty, what's up?
Hey, Tom. Thanks for letting me follow WAMEND again.
Sure.
I'm crying right now, and I'm going to keep it together. I've gone through 4 California wildfires.
Mm-hmm.
This one's a bit different. This one is caused by climate change. California's burning,
Yeah.
and the East Coast is drowning. And I am still hearing people tell me that climate change is a hoax. I'd like some words. What do you say when, in spite of every obvious fact, people don't want to believe? What do I say?
Well, I would say you listen to scientists. If the scientist happens to be your doctor who tells you that you have cancer or heart disease, you'd listen to that, wouldn't you? You would listen to somebody who understands science. If it was you're an electrician in your house telling you that your electric panel was going to burst into flames if you didn't replace some of the breakers. In every we listen to scientists, and all the various pieces of our car that all work together because of various laws of physics. The computer, the telephone, the television. I mean, all of these things are based on science. We don't challenge any of that science. Why are we selectively challenging the science that says that burning fossil fuels is altering the chemistry of our planet? And please let me inform you that there is a reason. It's the same reason that back in the 1980s, there were people challenging the science that said that smoking causes cancer. And it's because the smoking industry, the tobacco industry, was passing out hundreds of millions of dollars over years, over decades, tens of millions of dollars a year, to so-called scientists and think tanks and spokespeople to go out and say, well, it's still a debate about whether smoking causes cancer or not. And eventually, the science became so overwhelming and the consensus was so great, and it even went to court, that basically, here's the good news. Libby, I think the name was. The good news is I'm sitting here in Washington, D.C., and 20 years ago, in this city, the most powerful lobby, the one lobby you didn't want to mess with, the lobby that could take down any politician, was the tobacco industry. It was the tobacco lobby. Tobacco lobbyists had so much power in this city 20, 25 years ago. It was mind-boggling. Nobody challenged them. And then Mike Papantonio and a bunch of other good lawyers got up and said, okay, we're going to take these guys on, and took them down. And now the tobacco lobby in Washington, D.C. is one of the weakest lobbies there is. The same thing, that same arc, Martin Luther King, the moral arc of the universe is long, but it curves towards justice. That arc, it's taking longer than it should. I agree. But it is curving toward awakening. And as more and more extreme weather events happen, please, despair is not an option. Despair is not a useful emotion. Take that emotion that you're feeling and convert it into activism. Find a group that's working on climate change that you can throw some time or energy into, that you can make some phone calls on behalf of, that you can send out some emails for, that you can leaflet for, that you can do some lobbying for, that you can, whatever. Become an activist, and you will discover that despair, which can be paralyzing, is turned into action that can actually help save the world. And this is what we all need to do. I hope I don't sound like I'm too A, lecturing, or B, Pollyanna-ish, but this is the reality is that every time we have confronted major crises, whether it was scientific crises like, tobacco killing people, or there being a debate about it, or whether it's the crisis of Jim Crow laws, or women being totally disenfranchised, or pick your poison, right? In every single case, there were some people who were in despair, who cried about it, who were so and I'm not saying that that's not an appropriate response. as a first response. This is kind of the 5 stages of death and grieving, that Elizabeth Kubler-Ross taught us about. The first, there's this shock, there's this despair. Go from there into anger and then response. What is it that Mahatma Gandhi used to say? First they ignore you, then they ridicule you, then they fight you, then you win. The fossil fuel industry used to ignore us. They stopped doing that. Then they started ridiculing us, saying, there's a debate about the science. There's no such thing about the science. That is not working anymore. The Los Angeles Times won't even publish things from climate deniers any longer. They're starting to be viewed like Holocaust deniers. So then they ridicule you is not working so much. So then they fight you. Now they've actually got people out there saying, carbon dioxide is good. And we'd be in an ice age if it wasn't for right now. And plants need it, and it's wonderful. They're going to lose because they're on the wrong side of science. They're on the wrong side of history. So this is actually all good news, and it should inspire you, and it should get you active. Please.